Hi, I'm Paul Seal from codeshare.co.uk. I've been building a website for my mother-in-law, and whilst building the website I've been showing people how to use Umbraco. I got a static template from a free website, and I've downloaded that HTML5 bootstrap template, and I'm just putting it into a website on Umbraco now. So this video I'm just going to continue with that. I'm going to go over a couple of things from previous videos just to show you answers to things that we were looking for when we was doing that. And then I'm also going to carry on, and I'm going to start off with doing the testimonials and then see if I can get these service lists done as well. So just before we go any further, I'm just going to log into Umbraco and show you there was something that was bothering me about some of the content items. So if I click on home, we've got home and then featured, blog. Yeah, so these are okay. So it wasn't these, but I think there was some other pages under this where the controls were in a different order to what I wanted. Oh, this was it. So if you see on the blog post, we've got the actual blog article content here, but that's above these other things further down. So if you want to be able to change the order of those, and even though they're coming from different document types, this is how you do it. So let's go onto a blog post and see what it inherits from. So we've got title controls, basic content controls, and article controls. Now I want it to do it in the order of, what do I want it to do? We've got article intro, article image. I think I probably want the article intro and article image to be at the top. So what I can do is go into article controls, do reorder, and then just change the order of this to be -1. So because it's in the content tab, same as the others, this order counts with that. So this will make this one go up higher than the other. So if we go into content, go back into the article. So you see now I've got the article intro, the article image, then I can do the full width content, then I've got a title and a subtitle. Now I want that title and subtitle higher up as well. I think I probably want the title controls to be the highest of them all. So I'm just going to go into title controls, and I'm going to change that order to be -2. And then save that. So now if I go into content, click on the blog post, I should have title controls, then article controls, then the content of the article. So I'm much happier with that. And then if we just have a look on the page, see how the article is rendered at the moment. Yeah, there we go. Right, so it didn't affect how it was rendered, it just affected in Umbraco how you could see all the items within the same tab. So I'm happy with that. So that's covered now. Let me just have a look, see if there was anything else I wanted to say about previous things. I'm not sure. So I'm going to move on to our happy clients. Well, the testimonials section of this site. So these testimonials are going to show on the home page, and I'm going to make them editable in Umbraco, so that when someone does write something good about my mother-in-law's work, she could quote them. Maybe if they did a tweet on Twitter or a Facebook post or something saying how good it was, she could quote them and she could link to that quote on there. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to go into Umbraco. I'm going to create a new, right, let me think about this. So actually the best way to do this is to look at the partial view for the testimonials. I think it's called clients. I might change this actually to testimonials. So _ testimonials. and then where that's referenced already, which I think is in the home controller, I'm going to change that. So instead of it being underscore clients, I'm going to have it underscore testimonials. I'm going to do Control Shift S, Control Shift B. That will save all documents and that will do a build. So now if I go onto the front end, I just want to make sure that I've not killed anything. Just because I've done a rename, it shouldn't ruin it. Also, I'm going to rename that method as well, where it says render clients. I'm going to call it render testimonials. Right, so it's not killed anything, it's still working, that's good. Right, so also just a word about these here. So these are my controllers. I shouldn't have all of this logic inside the controllers. What I normally do is I have some helper classes that I do all my logic for. So the controller really is, it's just it sets up what the model is, and it goes off to the helper library and asks for the model, and that comes back. And that's usually interrogated from the database or the cache. That comes back then, and then it just gives that model to the partial view. That's usually what they're doing on the render. And then if it was a submit of a form, the action on this controller would check if the model state is valid of the submit, and if it is, it will call the helper to do what it needs to do, and then it will just tell you, it would send you back to whichever view or partial view that you need to go back to. So that's what the controller should be doing. At the moment it's not like that, it's got everything in it. That's just for ease of demonstration while I'm writing these things, but I think later on I'm probably going to go through and refactor these and put them into helper classes. It might be a useful video to do actually. So I've got this called testimonials. Now I'm going to just call this render testimonials. And where I'm calling that is on the home page. So I had render clients. I'm just going to do render testimonials. Control Shift B again. So let me refresh that. Okay, come on. Right, while that's doing that, I'm pretty sure that's going to be fine. So what we've got here is two testimonials. One thing that'd be worth looking at is to see if we can have more. So to do that the quick way, I'm just going to duplicate what's here. The testimonials that are here, and just paste them in and see if it looks okay with 4. It's not the best. Maybe I need the row wrapping around it, so I'm just going to undo that copy and paste, and I'm going to copy and paste it again with the row class div around it. Refresh. Right, so it's not really made a difference, and I did change that. Do I need to go up again one more level, the container? So I'm going to copy it again with the row, and this time I'm also going to add a div class container. Oops. Right, and then I'm going to put that copied row inside my container. Have I started? Right, so now I've got them wrapped in a container, so hopefully that will give it some sort of padding around it, and it might not look so bad. No, still doesn't like it, probably looks even worse. So I think it's better to have it as just 2 testimonials. That's what this design is set up for. One other thing I can do before I go down that route, just delete this. I'm just going to see if it works with 3. So again, this isn't my design, this is a design that I've got for free off the internet. But what I'm going to do is just change this to work with, because I'm working with a 12 column layout. I'm going to change these so that I've got them as column D4s, so that I can have 3 on the page. Let's see what that looks like. That doesn't look too bad actually. So hi Bill Gates. So I'm quite happy with that. And let's just see what it looks like if we go smaller. Yeah. Right, so I'm going to adapt it slightly then, and I'm going to have it so that it's got 3. Right. Or what I can do is I can make this column number here. I can make I'll try a 3 out as well. This will be good exercise actually. Try a 3 and see what it looks like if I've got 4 per block. So 4, it's a bit tall, but it'll work. So at least I know that it will work. Right, so hi Bill Gates. So if you're watching on YouTube, I've got somebody on live, because I'm streaming this live as well. I've got somebody asking a question, if you look over here. So Bill Gates, what type of website are you converting? So I've got a static website that I got from FreeHTML5. If we go here, so freehtml5.co. I've got this static template off them, and I'm using that now. I'm using it as to build a website for my mother-in-law, and I'm putting it into Umbraco. So I've got a content managed website for her, so she can put all of her portfolio on. Anyway, so I've done some of it, and this is me now doing some sections of it. The client is my mother-in-law, so sort of what she wants, but sort of what I want to do for her. Anyway, I'm going to move on now. So at least I know that I can be, if I've got 3 or 4 or just 2, I can render these out as I wish. So I can do some logic for that. So let's get this set up then. So what I need to do is I want to create a model to represent each testimonial. So I need to look at what testimonial has. So it's got the quote, it's got who it was, and it's got where you can link to that. Now I'll probably make that link optional, because maybe there's not always a link to where they said what they said. It could just be feedback that they were given. So I'm going to create myself a model. So I'm going to add a class, and I'm going to call it testimonial model. I've got testimonials model already, and that's because I've got that's got the title and the introduction to the testimonial section. So that's this bit here. So on this, I'm going to have a list of, I just need to use the right namespace. I need to use system.collections.generic. That would allow me to have lists. So now I can have a list of testimonial model. And call that testimonials. Right, so that's my testimonials. So I'm going to have another property on this to say public bool has testimonials. And on that I'm going to do a get, which just checks that the testimonials isn't null, and that it's got items in it greater than 0. Right. So that's my property that I can just look at now in the view. I can say if it has testimonials, then render them. And I'm also going to do one to say public string. I'll do this as the column class. Yeah. So for this column class, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow up to a maximum of 4 items to show. They don't look very good on separate rows, so I'm going to keep it as 4 items, 4 columns. So I'm going to say, I'm going to do a get. Let's do it like this. So get. So I'm going to switch. I'm going to switch the number of testimonials. So switch testimonials.count case. So if it's got so the minimum I want is probably 2. I can do 1. So case 1, and then I'll make this return. I'll do this rough for now, and I can always refactor it. So column D12. So what's this moaning for? Not all code paths return a value. Right, okay, default return. Actually, I'll make that my return for default. Return column D12 as a default. So case 1, it will be that. Case 2, it will be a 6. In case 3, it will be a 4. Now you probably can see that it needs refactoring here, but for quickness I just want to show you this, but I could refactor it to work out 12 divided by the 4, etc. I can do that later. I don't think there's any value in that, but yeah, basically I would work out 12 divided by whatever. That would give me the MD size. But for now, it's fine. So I've got a column class. I don't need a case 1 anymore because it's going to default to that if it's not 2, 3, or 4. So now I've got that column class. I've got a title, introduction, has testimonials. So let's just go back to the view. So I'm going to have on my testimonial model, I'm going to have a public string quote. I'm going to have a public string name. I'm going to have a public string. What I might do here is create a link, and in the link I'll use a related link. I'll do this after. Sorry, I'm just thinking while I'm doing it. Right, so testimonial model, that's fine. And I'm going to have a constructor on this to accept in the quote and the name. Egg face, thank you very much. Name equals name. Right, so we've got that. So this is just a basic class that's going to hold the testimonials, and I'm going to loop through these testimonials on here. So I can do this here now. I can say for each testimonial model, I'm going to tell this to use the namespace because I've got more than one reference to that namespace now, I'm just going to tell it to use it. Hi, IWEX. Yes, I am. I'm from Great Britain. I'm near Nottingham at the moment. I'm at work. Where are you from? And then so testimonial model. So for each testimonial in the testimonials, I can then use this so I'm going to use the @model dot, and I'm going to use the class name, column class there. So if I wrap that around there, so I'm going to wrap open brackets around it. So I've got the testimony. So for every one that I get now, it's going to give it the column class. It's going to add the markup that I need around it. So here we are. This is the actual, the meat of it, the quote. So I'm going to do @testimonial.quote, and then I'm going to do @testimonial.name. So all of this here is just duplicated, so I don't need these anymore. So null 513, yeah, I do use Bootstrap quite a bit on personal projects. On my own projects, I don't. On my work projects, I don't use them. On my work projects, we've got custom markup that we do. We've got front-end developers. I'm more of a back-end developer. I have to mix with all of the front-end code, markup, script, CSS as well. But mainly, I focus on the back-end, on the content management systems, on the server-side code, the databases, and things like that. But when I'm doing my stuff, because of that reason, I like to not worry about the front-end markup, and so for ease of use for myself, I use Bootstrap. So in Umbraco, I need to set something up to to be able to enter this in. I'm sorry if I'm a bit put off. Just not used to trolls on this yet. I've not been doing it very long, the live coding. So you get some trolls I didn't realise you did. Right, so let's just think about this. On this page, I've got testimonials. I want them to show. I want to be able to edit them and then show them. So I want to create testimonials. So I've got testimonials controls. So that's got the title and the introduction. I want a list of testimonials. So I'm going to create my own custom data type. So I'm going to call it testimonial list. I'm using Archetype as my editor for this. Property editor, Archetype. I'm going to grab that name there. That will be the label. So the label template on this, so this will be, I'm going to get it to use the name. So this will be the name of the person. Name. So I'm going to say enter the person's name. String, yeah. So it's always required. And then I'm going to do another one here of quote. Enter the quote text. Yeah, this is a content management system using .NET MVC. All right, and then required, tick that. I'm going to set this to say always start with the add button. Save. I'm going to go into my settings on testimonials controls. I'm going to add this as a property. So I'm going to call it testimonial list. I'm going to say enter the testimonials to display. So I didn't create Umbraco, I'm just using Umbraco, But yeah, you do have to do most of the actual work to create your own custom version for this content management system. It's more of a framework for you to use, IWEX. Right, so now I can reuse the one that I've just created, which was called testimonial list. I can submit that, and then I can save. So now if we go into the content and go to the home page, and when I've got the testimonials tab, I can see I've got the title, the introduction, and then I've got this here, testimonials list. So I can put the straight away I've noticed that the quote, I've done that as a text box instead of a text area or text multiple. So I'm just going to go into developer, data types, testimonial list, and I'm going to change that quote one to, instead of being text box string, just be text area. Save that. So now I can go back into home, testimonials, click on add, so the name. So let's just do this. So Ethan Smith, and then the quote that they said was this. Save and publish. Right, so I have just one, and then I'll do another one as well, and that can be Bob. I'm going to call him Bob. Bob someone. And this is a quote from Bob someone. Bob doesn't like trolls on the internet. Save and publish that. So we've got Ethan and Bob. So they're my two testimonials, and I want those to show up on there. So I need to get a way of getting it from being saved in Umbraco, and I've already told it to render them out on the view, but I need to load this model up to have those in the model. So the way I do that is back into this controller. Again, I was saying earlier, I would put these into a helper class so the controller doesn't have this sort of logic in it. But for quickness on a demo video and live coding, I'm just going to leave it in here. So testimonials model, if I F12 to that, I'm going to get it to pass in the list of testimonials as well. _T, and then I can do testimonials here equals the one passed in. So that I'll be able to pass that in from here. So now I need to get them from the Umbraco. So if I do equals new list testimonial, right? So testimonials, and then I'll pass that into there. So now that will make this happy. The red line goes away. So we just need a way of populating this list. So we need to use Archetype to get the value of that testimonial list. So I'll do Archetype model testimonial list equals, and then I'm going to use homepage dot get property value, and I'm going to, now you can in brackets here just do Archetype model again, but it sort of infers that, it knows that based on the type that's coming back, but I can just put that in, and then I'm just going to call it testimonial list, I think it was. So this is the property alias from inside Umbraco, but it should be fine with that. Then I'm going to say if testimonial list is not equal to null, then I want to loop through them. So I'm going to do for each archetype field set model, and I'm just going to say testimonial. So for each testimonial in my testimonial list, so again this is reading it from Umbraco, I want to get some of the values. So at the moment I've got name and quote. So if I do string name equals testimonial dot get value as a string and then name, that'll get me the name, and then string quote equals testimonial dot get value string and then quote. And they're lowercase because by default they are lowercase with the property alias as they do camel casing. So they'll start lowercase. And then I want to create and I want to add, so testimonials dot add. So I'm adding up to this list of testimonial models, and then in here I'll do new testimonial model and I'll pass in the name. I'll get it the right way around, quote and then name. So I'm going to look through that. Alright, got the wrong casing on that. Got the name, got the quote, and I passed it in. So if we look at that testimonial model, that sets that, so the object will be set. So if I go back to the home controller, I now need to tell this to use these, which it does, it passes it in. So we can have a test now, build that and just have a look, see if that works on the front end, if it pulls those through. So we go into the front end, so we should see 2. And it should be using colMD6 for the widths, because I had 2 of those coming through. Oh, here we go. Right, so it's pulled it through and it's worked, and it's actually got the correct colMD6s. So if I try, I can now add another one. So this is another one. So I'll just say B3 is the name, and the quote was, "This is a fantastic stream." So this is a fantastic stream. Okay, so thank you very much, B3. Appreciate you. There we go. So it's worked. And if I do 4, if I do 4, let's just test this out. So Dave, hello. This is another test. Right, so Dave, and then if I refresh on the front end, that's come through. So now if I go again, I think with my code, it's going to give it a colMD12 on all of them. So let's just have a look. And what I can do is restrict it to just 4 if I need to. So if I add another one, Bill Gates, and B3 is the quote. And if I refresh, yes, as I suspected, it's gone to colMD12s, and that's because of the code here I set in the model. On the testimonials, I said by default to do colMD12. So that's a bug really in my code. So I'm just going to do call MD12 if it's a 1. And then what I'm actually going to do, I suppose, see, I could always just make that go to 3s. Let's see what happens if I make it go to 3. Actually, I prefer the 4, if I'm honest with you. So I'm just going to make it go to 4 by default. So if I've got more than that, it will just come in groups of 3. Let's see how it goes. But I don't think that we will have more than that if you think about it in reality on the site. Come on, let's have a look. So I've just done a refresh on the page. So it has sort of worked. It's done it in 3s. That's because there are 5. If I turn 1 off, it will work nicely. Yeah, the problem here is null 513 is that it doesn't look very good on the new row. I don't really like it on the new row. I just want to limit it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, in my method, in my logic where I'm telling it to get these featured items, I'm just going to say take and then maximum of 4. And what I want to do here, some people don't like constants. Resharper doesn't like constants, I know that, but I don't like resharper. No, but I do understand the reasons why not to, but for this purpose I'm just going to say constant int maximum testimonials. What is wrong with this guy? It's gone again. What is wrong with him? Loser. Right, maximum testimonials, I'm just going to say 4. So then I'm going to use that here. So instead of having it hard coded as 4 on the take, which was, where was my take? Oh yeah. See, I was doing it on the wrong one actually anyway. So I'll take that off there. It's actually down here, testimonial list. And I'll just say take and then maximum testimonials. Okay, now if we go to the front end, we should only ever see 4. It will only ever show us the latest 4, the first 4 in the list, sorry. So even if I turn the other one back on, that is now off, if I save and publish that, and then go on to here, that's worked. So I've got 5 items on here, but it's still only showing 4. So I think I'm happy with that. I don't want to show more than 4 really. So that's how you do that, and just to show you, it's really good, this archetype is. What I can do is I can change the order of this. So I can put Dave at the top. So now if I refresh, Dave was there, is now going to be the first one. And that's just using archetype. So, and you can delete them, and you can add more in, you can turn them on or off, but save them in there to be turned on again later. So it's really good, that is. I quite like it anyway. That's doing that, and then, but they're all currently just linked to Twitter. So what I can do, you see, the thing with this is not very scalable, because if they do it from all different websites, it's going to be a bit tricky. I suppose what I can do is just pass in the class name of where they were from, and then just the URL of where they're from. I'm going to leave it for now. I'll probably work on that on the next video. So thanks for watching. I hope you learned something there. It's similar to one of the other ones that I did already. and that was for these featured items. You've learned about trolls finding it hilarious on the internet to write rude words. I wonder how old he is. And yeah, I've shown you how to add these testimonial blocks, and we'll fix the links on the next one. I'll show you something. You can have a look at it in the meantime. Codeshare.co.uk. There is a blog post on related links. So there's a thing in Umbraco called a related link, and it's quite annoying to work with. So what I've done is I've created a class that will help you parse those related links into .NET objects and use those instead. So we'll use that on the next one to sort these links out. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. And if you're watching it on YouTube and you enjoyed the video, please hit like, and also feel free to comment. And if you've got any requests or need any help, I'm always happy to help you in the comments. And I'll speak to you again soon. Thanks.